Hey guys, in this video we're going to be talking about diagnostic trouble codes. And what do they actually mean? I mean, they can be really confusing if you don't really know. I mean, sometimes just through experience of doing, like, say, P0300 codes or P0208, if you're a diesel tech, you probably know that one pretty well. But there's kind of a method to the madness of how these things are built. Now, they're built in two different ways. Now, way back, before 1996, the United States government came out and said that we need to standardize emission control. We need to take care of a few things, powertrain control. We need to make sure that the ground level ozone is being dealt with. It's also a reason why we have catalytic converters, because we didn't want unburnt hydrocarbons entering the atmosphere. We wanted to clean up our planet. So the government came in and they said, well, we have all these trouble codes now, and this is the chart that you're going to use for those trouble codes. Now, the other type of trouble codes are manufacturer-specific trouble codes. If you're Euro-specific or you work on a specific line of vehicle, like let's say Cadillac or Chevy, you probably know this more than your tech in your Asian domestic shop, or in your European shop, you do know this. So they have two types of codes is what I'm getting at. Number one is going to be the generic, as we say, or OBD2 code, onboard diagnostics 2. Or it's going to be a manufacturer-specific code. So here's how it breaks down. There are 5 digits in these generic codes. The first is always where that code lives. So if it's a P code, P0304, it's going to be a powertrain code. If it's a B code, it's going to be a body code. There's something in a door panel, there's something, motor's not working, there's something happening, impact sensor, whatever it is, that's going to live in the B series. Now C is going to be chassis related. So that's going to be like your ride control, so on and so forth. So your C codes are going to live there. And now finally they have a U code. Now the U codes are typically what they say undefined, but what we typically find here at TechFix and through my experience, U codes are usually data codes. They're usually some sort of malfunction in communications. So that's it. You have your 4 style codes. That's your first digit. So let's go a little bit further here. Now, the second is going to determine whether it's a generic code or a manufacturer-specific code. So let's say that I have a P0 code, P0304, misfire code on cylinder 4. That 0 tells me that it's a generic code, that all vehicles manufactured for sale in the United States have to have this code built into their diagnostic system. Now this tells me that, pretty much any reader can read this code. Any diagnostic scan tool can read this code. Now, if I have a P1304 or whatever they might have it in their catalog, that's a manufacturer-specific code. A P1 code is going to tell me that that's an OEM code, not an OBD code. So I might want to switch to manufacturer-specific when I'm looking at that code, or I might want to just keep looking through OBD2 if I have good information and a good scan tool. Next, what it breaks down to, so that's my first 2. Now it breaks down into series of codes, and we're specifically talking about OBD2 codes here. Now, code 1, so P01 is going to deal with emissions management. That's different than emissions control. Now, emissions management is going to be more of your software inside of a module, inside of a computer. It's going to be the thing that reads data and makes decisions. Now, emissions control, which is down the line a little bit, usually a device, a sensor, something like that I use to actually control the emissions with, like an EGR valve. So an EGR position sensor may fall into that category. So a P01 is going to tell me that I have an emissions management issue. There might be a lean code in there somewhere, okay? Next, a P02, that tells me that I'm dealing with a fuel injection problem here. And the reason why I said P0208, well, that's a fuel injection circuit malfunction on cylinder 8. And a lot of times you see that kind of code on a diesel. Now you'll see them on, gasoline, direct injection, so on and so forth as well. Now let's say a P02 is fuel injection control circuit. So that's going to mean like that's the wiring. maybe it's the driver for a fuel injector, maybe it's the wire, maybe there's an open circuit. It's seeing that injector, for whatever reason, electronically is not working well. Next, a P03 code is going to be misfire and ignition. So when you see a P0300, now that's going to give you a random multiple misfire. You may see it with a P0171, which is going to be a lean code too. So that's a good indicator that we're having some sort of issue with the volume of air coming into the engine. All right, so let's move on to 4. Now, 4 is going to be emission control. That's what we were talking about earlier. So P04 code, like a 420, or evap code, something like that. That's going to be the devices out there on the vehicle that are actually controlling or giving feedback to the modules about emissions situations, about what the level of pollution this car is emitting. Okay. Now the P05 codes are going to be vehicle speed and idle control. Now P0504, is that you're looking for something in that area. Point is, if I have a P05, I know that I now have an idle control or a speed issue with this vehicle, okay? Now P06, this is the third digit in the 5-digit code. Now that's going to be a computer or output circuit. So again, if I know it's a 6 code, I know what I'm dealing with. Something is happening with one of my modules, or one of my sensors, or one of my actuators in that circuit. So P06, probably more specific, probably going to have your lab scope out in your hand at that point. And then finally, the P7 and 8, they're going to be transmission related codes. You see a lot of solenoid codes here. You see a lot of circuit codes here, output shaft codes like gear ratio difference codes, that sort of thing, in 7 and 8. Now there are 9 and 10, but SAE, Society of Automotive Engineers, have left those blank for future situations. Maybe they're going to be on EVs or whatever they have planned for that. It's above my pay grade. So again, we have 5 digits in these P codes, and I pretty much ran through what that means. Powertrain, body control, body, chassis, undefined, and then we get into whether it's generic or whether it's specific to the manufacturer, and then we talk about where it is, where that code lives. Is it ignition and misfire? Is it like a 2 series code, which is going to be a fuel injection circuit? You guys kind of get the point. Now, the other 2 are very specific, the last 2 digits in these 5-digit codes. So let's say a P0304. That gives me some space for indication. Let's say I'm working on a 12-cylinder. Now, what if I have a P03011? That tells me I have a misfire on cylinder 11. So those last 2 designations in the P code or B code, whatever you're working for, are left for different situations. Like I have more than 8 cylinders. I have a specific area of the transmission, so on and so forth. SAE has a whole list of these. If you want to go through them, there's probably about 2,000 of these codes, maybe more. I've never bothered to do that myself. But here's what I'm getting at in this video. I want to explain to you guys that there is a code to these codes. There's almost a hierarchy to them as well. Now we'll get into that in another series. But when you walk up to a vehicle and you pull a code, now you can say, oh, it's a P02 code. That's going to be in my fuel injector. It's going to be something in that circuit. Or it's a P04 code or a 5 code. You're going to know that it's going to be in the idle control or the emissions control. The P03 code, it's always going to be a misfire or in the ignition system. So I hope that explains it to you. I hope that boils it down to how these codes work, and helps you out when you're out there in the field working on cars or trucks. If you fix the cars, you fix the shop.